Hey,
Hey,
how's everybody doing today?
hey.
Everybody.
That was real dry.
Yeah, y'all too dry for me.
Oh my
That
god.
that was dry as I don't know what, child. The energy is not in the
Whoa,
room today.
holiday. Whoa, holiday.
Run it back, Holiday. Run it back. Whoa, whoa,
Run
whoa,
that
whoa,
back.
whoa, Holiday.
Run that back.
Hey, it's Happy Earth Day. Welcome, everybody.
What's going
Oh,
on?
y'all need to wake up.
Wake up,
Okay.
everybody. No more sleeping in bed.
What's the vibe?
I hope you ain't sleeping in bed. It's 6:30 p.m.
Oh,
Okay. You definitely should have been up by now.
okay.
Mm,
Mm. You know, I'm just gonna wake you up at 10 o'clock. Get up!
right.
Okay. No cap.
Do the most pointless stuff. Y'all know how we do. Um, please share and tag this live so that your friends and everybody else can watch.
Okay.
Um, tag your friends, tag your people so they can watch alongside with you. Um, we're not gonna get started until you do.
Do, do, do.
Oh, and I oh.
Mm.
She said, "Yeah, I gotta go. I just sat on my balls."
Oh, my balls.
Come on.
Nah.
All right, so let's get this thing rolling and moving. Um, we got some things coming up that we want to share with you guys. First thing is AIDS Walk. I want to make sure that you guys know that it's coming up on May 1st. We're actually going to have a show scheduled. It's going to be airing that day. It'll be on that Saturday. I think it's from 11 to 12, um, featuring myself. Um, so please, if you're interested, definitely watch while you're walking. You can be walking, you can be watching, you're doing a little bit of both. Um, for the AIDS Walk, 'cause like I said, it's going to be May 1st. We also want you to donate. If you have friends and families and corporations that you're under and you want to be a part of some sort, challenge your people to donate, and get people kind of talking about it and things like that. Also, each of us also have pages that you can donate to. All proceeds do go to RAIN. I think about 94 cents to $1 goes directly back into the community. That is important to know because most organizations that you do donate to, their percentage is a lot lower than that. Um, so please donate. Please walk. You can also be watching that show that's going to be airing on May 1st as well to kind of stay engaged and stay connected with what's going on at the AIDS Walk. We also got some awards that we'll be giving out that day. Um, and just come on. The second thing I also want to talk about is we're going to be doing a free drive up testing event on May 15th.
Whoop,
That'll be
whoop.
from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It'll be here at the Children Family Services building where we reign are housed in the parking lot. So please come out, get tested, bring your friends and anybody else that you may know, and come and get tested. Um, and I think that's it.
Yes.
I think that's it.
And wear your mask when you pull up.
And
Please.
not wear your mask when you pull up. Yes, wear your mask when you pull up. We're doing HIV and Hep C testing on May 15th.
Mhm.
It is rapid, so you get your results right then and there. All right. So I want to give a shout out to CREW. CREW is our sister organization, which stands for Community Resource Empowerment and Wellness. They focus on mental health and substance use. So if you know somebody that may benefit from that program, please contact Sean. He will point you in the right direction. Um, so we typically do introductions. I think by this point, you guys get the vibe. You know who we are. Um, so we have on the line now our research coordinator, um, EIS peer retention specialist slash epi. Our peer outreach specialist is on the line, and you have myself. So today let's go ahead and actually wrap around to listen up with Sean.
Come on, Sean.
Tap in.
So, you guys, you know what I'm saying? Usually I'm always hype. You know, I always got the gossip and I always got the tea. But, you know, we're going to talk about something serious today, something that really was dear to me that I kind of seen that was, well, I ain't going to say kind of seen, I actually seen that was going on social media and on TV and everything. We have been waiting a long time for this sentencing of this police officer that killed George Floyd. It finally happened. It was broadcasted, and I want to talk about that too, but I kind of wanted to get on the lines of how they prepared for people to riot and act up had the verdict not been guilty. If he was pronounced innocent, how they were supposedly properly prepared for riots. Can somebody just give me a little bit of how y'all feel about this situation before I kind of just break my piece down?
I feel like, well, we had this conversation many episodes ago about people rioting, for protesting, and I was pro riot, so I'm not mad at it. This is a long time coming. This is basically a teardrop in the ocean of all the problems that we're dealing with as being Black African Americans. So I'm glad that Derek Chauvin is going to prison, but we still have a lot more work to do.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, and I'm like that too. I definitely am happy that we got the verdict that we all I feel like most of the world expected. But just like Bryce said, just a teardrop problem. So, and I also think a lot of people are getting justice confused with accountability, as I've been seeing all through. Yeah, it's like, hey, like this isn't justice. Justice would be him still being here and living to raise his child rather than dead. It's accountability. Now they're like actually trying to show accountability, but I saw something that was like he's only like the 8th officer since 2005 to be convicted of a police killing, and there's been over 15,000 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So is it really justice? Because it's and is it even really accountability? It's like, is this like just a slap on the wrist so that y'all can make it
Thank you.
So I'm verdict, but it's just like he still got to be sentenced. Like he can be sentenced up to 75 years, but I feel like they're gonna do some bullshit and give him like 5.
I mean, and that's one of the things that I wanted to kind of focus on as well, is that he was found guilty. So right now he faces up to 40 years in prison for second degree, up to 25 for third degree, and 10 for manslaughter. However, he's a first
got to it
offender.
before I did. I was about to say all that. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
I'm sorry, but however,
Go ahead.
he's a first offender. So all of those numbers that we're looking at can be reduced tremendously. And I think that's that's going to be the whole end all tell all, is what is he going to actually serve?
Right.
And
where is he going to serve it at?
Well, I know they're going to keep. They definitely going to keep him in an isolated situation, because they can't put him in prison with the other people. So he's going to be isolated.
Because they're going to get him.
But I don't know.
So, like you said, Johnny, that with you were saying the number of years for the sentencing. So they did charge, like you said, he was charged guilty. He had 3 charges with the second degree, the third degree, and then what was it, manslaughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with all of that, I feel like how Justin just said a few minutes ago. Like, is this like a slap on the wrist? Like, are they just like they're making it sound and look like something?
Mm-hmm. So, well, he can only be found guilty for what he was charged for to the jury. So the jury had to find him guilty of the charges, but the jury doesn't pick the charges. So
Exactly.
those charges were already set before he even went to court to get sentenced. So I think what we're looking at is getting much more harder charges for police who murdered unarmed people. But then also this is a unarmed murder that didn't involve a gun. He literally placed his knee on his neck.
Right.
So that was a whole nother loop in the situation. I felt like if he would have shot George Floyd, I wonder how this would have turned out.
Exactly.
Well, and then so
Mm-hmm.
these I think what like I said, I think what's nerve wracking to me is the numbers portion. Because like you said, the judge discretion can range from 3 to 5, could go to 3 years and 5 months to it can be anything and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, um, because he's a first offender, for the first charge, because he's a first offender, uh,
Probably like 5 to 10 years.
no, it's not even that much. It's not even that much. It's not even that much. I want to. It's 4. It's 3 to 4 years. Because he's a first offender with no record and that's for the second degree murder. And for manslaughter, um, manslaughter is usually charge about 10 to 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they could reduce that to about
That is crazy.
Mhm.
You could get 3 years for manslaughter because if you kill somebody in a car accident, you can get 3 years.
right, right.
But they can also reduce that because somebody in a car.
And I think one of the charges was considered involuntary manslaughter. That didn't sit right with me either because it felt voluntary to me.
That was very voluntary.
Mm-hmm.
Very. But yeah, that's why I was saying like it could be a slap on the wrist because it's like we still don't know, is he gonna get that maximum sentence? Is he gonna get like the bare minimum to just say like, oh, we made an example out of you, don't do it again?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and go swift right on to the next one because this is another one that was dear to me that I seen that was going on. I don't know if you guys heard about. I'm trying to make sure I don't screw her name up, but I think it's Makai Bryant. I believe she was a 15-year-old female who had actually called the police because there were some females that were coming to her home to fight her, and basically she was trying to defend herself, and she pulled out a knife. But now, mind you, again, I said she called the police to let them know what was going on. So when the police got there, they seen her with the knife, and the police fired and shot at her because of the knife. Because they said that she was going towards the girls, trying to stab the girls, but the police shot at her and killed her.
Mm-hmm.
So I please don't attack me, y'all.
No.
I feel like one officer was wrong because there should have not been because this is a 15-year-old. You're a grown man. You're a trained police officer. So there's no way you should have first thought, oh, I'm going to shoot. And from the body cam footage, because they did release the body cam footage, yeah, you had no discretion on like trying to de-escalate the situation. It was just, I'm going to pull up and start busting. That was wrong. However, I'm faulting everybody that was there recording that little girl in that fight and adults recording this little girl and these little girls, fighting. Like, y'all are just as much guilty as everybody want to be mad at the officer. You need to be mad at people, because why are y'all condoning this? Why are y'all, advertising? And furthermore, like, the girl went in the house after she called the police to get the knife. Why would you go back outside? You done already called the police. You know they're on the way. There's just so much wrong with this to where, like, I want to fault the officer completely. Like, there's so much of this that could have been, like, avoided. Really sad.
You took the words out of my mouth. The
Mm-hmm.
words out of my mouth. I feel the same way.
Hey, Crystal, we love you. We miss you.
Hey, Crystal.
Justice, I appreciate your honesty. It is so easy to jump on a bandwagon, right, and just say, I appreciate your honesty because, as I watched the video, I've watched it a couple of times. I watched it today. I watched it last night. And whatever. And I battle with that conversation as well. Like, she charged, I think, twice, three times. And I think I've counted with that knife. And the police is yelling stop or get down and things like that. Drop your weapon. The normal things that they norm. However, there is a difference between the intent to disarm somebody, like even if you shot her in the leg, even if you shot her in the foot, to disarm her, which is what you guys are trained to do. That wasn't done, and that's why like you guys are still wrong. Like,
Right.
she wasn't coming at the police officer with the knife. I understand that another human life is at stake, and I get that, right? But there's a difference between shooting to with intent to kill or shooting with intent to disarm somebody, and they're different. And you can shoot somebody in the leg, you can shoot somebody in the once, right? You don't have to be forced. Like you do not have to like pull that trigger four times in order to get somebody to stop. I think that that's unnecessary.
That was definitely.
But even on the lines of that though, why a gun though? You have tasers, you have other mace. I mean, you have things to disarm people without having to actually pull out a gun.
I think
So
that
I just
like now you see it. Like you have recently where she made a taser for a gun. Now you got this where it's like you could have used a taser, bruh. Like even if you would have shot in the air, I'm sure a bullet would have just stopped everything. The sound of a bullet would have stopped everything. It was just no like effort to, like Johnny said, intent to disarm. Like it was just I'm gonna start busting it, and it was just like, okay, this is like further proof that the police system needs to be retrained or abolished completely. Like I saw something earlier, like they were providing alternatives to police, and I'm like, this is where the money could be going when y'all are fucking shelling out all this money to arm these police officers that y'all aren't even properly trained to use this military grade equipment. So
Have anybody watched The Boys on Prime? So I've watched it. I went back and watched it and whatever. And I now look at it in a different way. The second time that I watched the series, and I haven't seen the second season. I just seen the first season. I watched it when it first came out, and I rewatched it so I can go into the second season knowing where to catch up at. But pretty much the superheroes were taking the law inside of their own hands. They was doing what the hell they wanted to do, things like that. It was just a mess, and it reminded me of like what we go through today. Yeah, we see police officers as supposedly, somebody that's going to protect us, to protect and to serve, and things like that. And in the show, you have these superheroes that are being glorified, and things like that, and they're out here running a fucking muck. They were doing what they are doing the exact same thing that the police are doing, and it was a kind of a different take to see like how this show went from it being a sci-fi or a fantasy show to me to it being so realistic to me that this is actually what we're seeing every single day. This is life and whatever. So I just thought there was a nice take on that, and it also had a racist undertone to it as well, which I thought was very interesting. If you haven't watched it, it's a good show. I don't think that it is intended. It may be because people have very complex minds, and so people can turn something and make it abstract, and there's a literal meaning to it. You just have to get there to get there. But if you haven't watched it, watch it.
I recommend it to y'all. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna end y'all with y'all last one. Now this is just something that this is kind of, it might be boring to people, but I'm a big kid. Okay. I grew up playing this game on PlayStation, Xbox. Yeah, I was playing this game, and I got mad if my brother came in there and took it out. And the movie's coming out this weekend, and if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, Mortal Kombat. I loved you. I can start naming characters and everything. Liu Kang, Katana, Sonya Blade. I mean, I can start naming characters and stuff. It's like it's really deep to me, but they know that they already made, they previously made a movie
A long time ago.
about Mortal Kombat. It's an old movie of Mortal Kombat. But now technology and stuff has changed. Now they're able to make things look a little bit more realistic and things of that sort in the movie. So I guess I'm assuming from the previews, I think they're gonna tell the storyline from the beginning of how it all started with Mortal Kombat. Can somebody correct me if I'm wrong?
I don't know. I haven't been, but I don't know. Actually, I don't know what it's going to be about. I haven't. So I haven't seen. I actually haven't even watched the trailer. I wanted to be. I wanted to go and watch the movie with no expectations at all. I just wanted to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I haven't really paid attention to what the critic. I'll be all on sites trying to figure out what the fuck this is about, who's all going to be in it. I'm going in it totally blindsided because I don't want to have any preconceived notions of or anything about it. I just want to watch it to enjoy it.
I think you're gonna absolutely enjoy this.
I'm here for it.
I need another Street Fighter.
You said what?
I need a Street Fighter.
I'm weak.
That game. I need some.
Who was blowing a damn horn? Who go outside?
I don't know who blowing that horn.
There is a car alarm going off in my neighborhood. Y'all know I live.
I thought it was my neighborhood. I'm about to yell out the balcony.
That's why
I'm about to open my balcony, like, bitch.
Okay.
I was hoping that it would be done by the time I started talking, but it's not. So I'm gonna just try to talk over it, but it's not.
Oh my god!
Oh, wow.
What type of neighbors you got?
Child, you know I live in the ghetto.
It's okay.
Not a throwback Nintendo. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, the arcade game. The arcade. Like the
I remember. I used to like the memes that it used to when it was a person and they'll do like the boomerang thing and for each character, so it'd be like
and every day and they be standing there like this, Kitana.
Yeah. Right. I like stuff like that. That was funny.
That was dope.
So that sums it up with keeping up with Sean.
Listen up.
Hey.
Talk to me nice. Everything
All
nice.
right. So next we're going to talk about our topic today. And the topic is
PrEP.
Let's talk about PrEP, baby.
Let's talk about PrEP.
I promise I don't.
Everything else, you need to pop that PrEP. Because Jesus is Lord.
I promise I don't want to get sued by what you call it, because I think last time we played a song on here, Facebook tried to cut us off.
We do not own the copyrights.
We do not own the rights to this music. Please.
Okay. I need one of y'all to teach that to me. Like how to like upload or how to like, cause you know how like I be seeing videos or music and stuff on Facebook or music in the background, but every time I put music on something, it never works. I always get flagged.
So you gotta put it in the disclaimer before you even go live.
Yeah. You have to, or either like in the little.
It has to be playing.
Like in the banner, like if any music. Little thing across the bottom of the screen, you can put like we do not own any rights to this music, yada yada yada, so forth. But as long as it's that you don't own any rights, then they can't take it down.
Yeah.
So okay, but I feel like I have done that and they still took it down. I don't think I did something right. So we're gonna go back into that later.
Okay.
Come on.
Let's get it started.
Come on, baby. Let's talk about PrEP and what it is and why y'all need to get. Well, I'm not gonna say why y'all need to. Why you should consider getting on PrEP. So, Donna, can you please explain to me what is PrEP?
So, PrEP is actually an acronym, and I hate how it is. I'm gonna take that off, and I'm actually gonna correct that. So PrEP is actually an acronym. PrEP stands for pre-exposure prophylaxis. and right,
I was gonna let you slide. I was gonna let you
right,
slide.
right.
Which is a fancy way of saying.
Which is a fancy way of saying PrEP is a pill that can hinder, block any exposure, your exposure to HIV. So it
Mm.
does not stop exposure. You will still be exposed, but you will not contract HIV from being exposed to HIV. So it's almost like a shield around your cells, and the so your immune system pretty much I'm sorry. I'm out of it today, and I'm having to explain the science shit to y'all tonight, and I'm not in the mood. But we're gonna get through this tonight. I promise. So yeah. So your cells. So how HIV penetrates the cells is that it's almost like a I'm used to having a board behind me to kind of draw stuff out, and I don't have it right now, and I really want to go get
Oh
it.
my lord.
Um,
We
okay.
yeah, we can see that. We can
We
see
in
that.
there. We in there. Um,
So
I'm just playing. I don't got time. So anyway, but yeah, so it pretty much blocks it pretty much it's a shield around your cell, and it blocks anytime that you're exposed to HIV, you came in contact with HIV, you'll be unable to kind of catch it. It pretty much kill the virus dies out because it's unable to attach to a cell. HIV is like a parasite. It is a virus, and it needs a host to survive. So without that, it dies out. So because it's unable to attach itself to your cells, it dies out. And that person that is on PrEP will stay negative. However, PrEP is not something, and I know we're going to get into to this later. I don't want to jump ahead, but PrEP is not something that you can take that morning and have sex that night and think that you're gonna think that it's gonna work that way. PrEP is not designed to work that way. PrEP is a once a day regimen that you would take um, completely, and that is the only way that you can really be um, 100% sure that that anytime you come in contact with HIV, you would not you it would not you would not you would not contract HIV. So you have to make sure that you're taking it as prescribed.
Hmm. Thank you, Johnny. And I
You
also
are.
want to get into who PrEP is for. So PrEP was designed for MSM, which stands for men who have sex with men. But I also want to this. I just want to give a full disclosure that PrEP is for everybody, because everybody is at risk of contracting HIV. Um, but I just want to feed into that stigma of I don't need PrEP because I ain't gay. You know what I mean? So
I'm gay, so I'm like, what?
mm,
So, so, so Bryce, I just thought of this while you was,
yeah.
when you were just saying that. During this whole process of this conversation while we're talking about PrEP, I'm gonna act as if I'm the community, and I'm gonna say
Okay.
what I hear on the streets and what I hear, and we're gonna branch it. I'm gonna branch it off there. Okay, you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
I want to keep it honest with the people because you have to. I feel like you have to be authentic about this because sometimes when we go into it, we speaking these big words and we saying this stuff to
Mm-hmm.
people, and they're still confused and lost and don't know what the hell going on. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be that person. I'm going to sit here and it may sound like I'm being, funny, but I'm going to be like, I'm going to say some of the stuff that I've been hearing in the
Mm-hmm.
community as far as when it comes to PrEP. So just like Bryce said, it's not just for men. It's for everybody. This is not a gay drug. This is not
Yeah.
a it's not a drug just for gay men. Like it's straight
Mm-hmm.
men can take this as well. So I mean, it's just that whole stigma part behind the blue pill just being for gay people. Let that go.
Mm-hmm. I also want to get into misconceptions because one major thing I hear about uh why people don't want to take PrEP is because of the side effects. So people are scared that their kidney function might change by taking PrEP. That's very slim to none. I also want to get to touch bases on what Johnny said about taking it, being adherent to it every single day. It's not something that you could just pop last minute. I'm about to go do this, so let me just take it. And you haven't built up that defense mechanism for yourself to have to fight against HIV.
So I
Okay.
can't plan B.
What you say, Justice?
I can't pop it like a plan B.
No,
No.
baby.
What?
That's PEP. Now, if you had a night out and you feel like you've been exposed to HIV within a 72-hour window, there is a pill that you can take called PrEP, which stands for post-exposure prophylactics, and that's a pill that you take so that your body will have some type of defense to fight against the HIV that you were exposed to within that 72-hour window.
So
So you
scenario,
actually can.
I'm about to say, so scenario, say for instance, if I
Mm-hmm,
was to go out and me and this guy, we linked up, and we didn't discuss our statuses or anything of this sort.
mm-hmm,
Me and him end up having sex after he told after we had sex, I told him I was negative. He told me he was positive. So then, therefore, because I was exposed to someone that was HIV positive and we had unprotected sex, I would then go to what procedure and do what with the PrEP. Where can I go to get the PrEP?
So
you
you
go to
you come to
Amity to get this good old fat.
there are resources out in the community
Mm-hmm,
that you can go to. You can come to Rain. Rain is a resource hub. No, we do not prescribe
mm-hmm.
PrEP. We can definitely point you into the right direction to where to go to get PrEP. So that something was to ever come out, feel free to message one of us, contact one of us, and we can kind of point you in the right direction on where to go to get PrEP if you feel like you've been exposed. However, what I do want to say is that you please don't feel like just because you're having sex with somebody that is positive that you're going to contract HIV or that you've been exposed, because there is a thing called undetectable means untransmittable. So a person can be HIV positive and you can have unprotected sex with them, and they're virally suppressed, which is the same thing as undetectable, meaning they would not or aren't able to pass the virus on to you without you taking PrEP. So you know you don't have to make unnecessary or do unnecessary steps. Talk to your significant other or your partner or your sex partner or your hookup that night. Had a conversation and kind of figure that out that way.
Nah,
Um,
nah, man. It ain't.
what
It
I
ain't no
will
way.
say,
Look, you ain't no way you gonna tell me I can't get HIV if I'm having sex with somebody who's undetectable and they still got HIV. Make it make sense to me.
I make it make sense to you, baby. Listen, my DL measure is less than 20, which means my chances of giving you HIV are 0 to none. I'm undetectable. You want my records, I could get them to you. But are you sitting here worried about me being undetectable? When's the last time you got treated for gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis?
or
Are
do
you
you
gonna
know your
tell me?
status?
Are
I
you
mean,
gonna
I
tell me you had syphilis back in 2017?
well, I mean, so we're jumping shifts to other STIs and STDs, but we're having this conversation. Do you know your status?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you're talking. I mean, I think we kind of get into that, and PrEP, and please don't confuse PrEP as a way to.
And other STIs because they only protect you against HIV.
I actually wasn't going there, but thank you. But I would. So PrEP is not designed to actually help add with the stigma of HIV. There's already too
Mm-hmm.
much stigma out there, so PrEP is not used for that. So it's not. It is very stigmatizing to say, "Oh, um I've had this encounter with this in person with this person. Let me get they're like it is very stigmatizing. It can be very stigmatizing. PrEP is not designed to be stigmatizing, but we don't want to use it as a weapon for people, or to say like what Sean the scenario that Sean just said. I'm undetectable with things like that. If you feel that way or you feel that strongly about your sexual health, then yes, you deserve to feel that way and you deserve to take action. But you can do that in a way that is not stigmatizing to the partner or to the partner that is HIV positive in or
Mm-hmm.
undetectable.
True.
Um,
True.
You right. Get it. Get me together.
So like but I'm fucking bright, fucking, but I'm mad at me. I don't let them. You better not net at me, okay? So,
I have heard that scenario before.
I don't net at me. The fuck.
good old bicillin. Okay.
Oh my God. Well, I want to talk about access to PrEP and how we could get engaged in PrEP. So RAIN is a community resource to help you access PrEP. We do have PrEP navigation at RAIN. Where we can help you get enrolled into a yes, hey Amity. So where we can help you get enrolled into PrEP case management and get you service and get you started on PrEP. You'll be seen by a ID specialist or a doctor who will monitor yes, I don't want to say monitor your status.
One of the like levels of everything. Yeah, yeah,
Then
Yes.
yeah.
monitor your levels while being on PrEP. And also help give you some type of navigation and some assistance as you go on through your PrEP journey. But through that, I want to talk about there's two different types of PrEP. So there's Descovy and Truvada. Descovy is the new girl, but she has not yet been approved for women, um, for cisgender women. She's only been approved for cisgender men and trans women. Now, Truvada is accessible for those who are assigned female at birth.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Truvada, everybody, women and men,
Yes, everybody.
transgender. Discovery, just born male, assigned male at birth.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I also want to get into that. So now, actually, since we got through all the serious shit and the boring shit, let's get into the stigma. Actually, so I want to go back to stigma, and I want to talk about why you should be in PrEP and how PrEP is for everybody. Because one thing I hear specifically from heterosexual women is that I don't need PrEP because I don't mess with men who are gay, or I'm not gonna be exposed to HIV because I just don't get down like that. So, with Sean, if a heterosexual woman was to say that to you, how would you combat that conversation?
I'm sorry, y'all had to laugh because the real me probably would said a little bit more than what I'm getting ready to say. But um that bothers me that women think that way sometimes just because of the, like I said, the stigma behind the medicine that it's just for gay people. But I would explain to her that it's not just for, I would get into all details about it not being just for gay people. It's from what, depending on the actual pill itself that we're talking about, Truvada or Descovy, I'll let them know, who's capable and who's able to take the medication and how it works and everything of that sort, and let them know that just because your man is. See, I was about to go into another thing. I ain't gonna
No,
go
but
there.
it's okay. I also want to get into like people so focused on their partner, not partner sexuality, that they are not even focused on their partner's drug use. What if your partner is an IV drug user? And what if your partner is sharing syringes with other people? That's a whole nother situation. But that's something that's not just geared towards heterosexual women. That's also geared to us being I don't want to I don't want to expose nobody, but us being same gender loving men.
Right.
Me and you in a monogamous relationship, I'm on PrEP. I don't want to take my PrEP anymore. Should I stop taking PrEP even though me and you are exclusive, or we are in an open relationship but we know the rules?
Nope. No.
You don't stop taking it.
I mean, I think that should be a discussion between the two of y'all. So that way, that if y'all have that clear understanding, if something happens, you have every flash your tire or do whatever you want to do. But I feel like that's something, y'all have to have a clear.
I will
So
always advocate for. I will always advocate for my client to continue taking their PrEP, even if they are going to a serious exclusive or open relationship where there are rules, because self protection is a lifelong thing. It's not something that should just stop.
Right.
Even if you are a married couple, when you go to your doctor, they're still going to test you.
Mm-hmm.
Self protection is not something that stops just because oh, we together. It's something that's always going to have to. You're always going to have to do as a person.
Right.
so I'm gonna call you guys out because that
Mm-hmm.
that transition was a little off to me. Um,
How?
it happened so fast, and I was like, "Wait,
Wait.
I'm still on I'm still on the heterosexual women conversation."
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I do want to dive into that stigma a lot more than what we did because I don't want to skim over that conversation.
Got it.
Only because for a lot of different reasons. I think that this particular subject is important because a lot of times, even with the small thing that we just said on it, I don't think it was enough. I don't. The people in the back didn't hear this.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
And so
Mm-hmm.
um heterosexual women,
Mm-hmm.
and why do you think that there hasn't been, why do you think the spillover is so hard inside of the heterosexual community? when I'm talking about spillover, I'm talking about the spillover of HIV, the spillover of PrEP, that spillover of sexual health. Why is that spillover so hard to kind of? Why is that spillover so hard to be integrated and talked about inside of the heterosexual community?
I think it's the idea of denial and also that stigma of even anything related towards HIV is something that's geared towards the gay community. Because when HIV first thing, they was calling it great like the gay man's disease, right? So now we're talking about PrEP. This is something that's supposed to protect you against HIV, and now they're still associating it with something that's gay, and it's a weird issue. So if I'm a heterosexual woman and I mess with masculine straight men, I feel like I don't need to be on PrEP because the men I mess with, they never gonna be in that situation. They ain't never gonna get down like that. But you like you know what I mean. But it's even not even about him being messing with other men. Like I said, it could be a situation where there's could be IV drug use involved. You know what I mean?
I also think that spillover is a little murky because, like Bryce said, like HIV was marketed, I'll say, lack of better words, marketed as a gay man's disease. And even still, after proving that it's not just a gay man's disease, it's like people still want to associate it with, what it was, that initial, thought in their brain is like, oh, well, this was brought to us by gay men, supposedly. So we're going to keep it that way. It's kind of like systemic racism. It's like, it's been a thing. We've tried to, kind of combat it, but it's something that's already in people's heads that is gonna you're gonna have to do so much work to kind of destigmatize it and get it out of their head and make it realize that HIV is just as fluid as gonorrhea or chlamydia. Everybody can get it. You know what I'm saying? When you hear about gonorrhea and chlamydia, it's not, oh, that's a gay man's disease or a straight person's disease, because everybody can get it. So I feel like that's something that needs to be brought in education. Um,
Hmm.
but
I agree with you, Justice. But I also want to say this because I said this earlier. You know, if I went to somebody and be like, I got cancer, they're like, oh my god, that's terrible. Because this cancer seems like something that happened. If you have HIV on positive, they look at you like, oh, it's something you did to yourself because you was out there.
and
But you can have more sexual partners that have more sexual experience than I have. That still doesn't determine my me testing positive for SEI doesn't mean I'm promiscuous.
right,
And a lot of this stigma stems from Christianity too, because like in the church and the black community, you really are supposed to be having sex at all, but we know people having sex.
right.
So in order for you
Telling
to
us
acknowledge or to address your STIs, it's acknowledging and addressing that you having sex when you're not supposed to, and everything that's done in the dark will come to the light. It's one thing to have a baby. Oops. It's another thing to show a positive. Like, you know, it's that
Yeah.
it's that stigma around it.
Well,
definitely.
I was gonna say earlier when you and Justice had finished that,
Mhm.
in lack of better words, I guess for how I feel about it, it's a lack of education when it comes to even people just wanting to know information. I know for me, I've literally watched an older generation. Literally, when I say older generation, like my mom and them, like me explaining this stuff to them now, they are like literally blown. Like they don't know what the freak I'm talking about. They're like, "What you mean to tell me?" And even when I was explaining to her about HIV medicine and how HIV medicine works and this,
Mhm.
that, and the third, it was, she still was just like, and she's old school, of course. So it's everybody they looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" But I'm like, it's medicine that I'm undetectable. Like, what is undetectable? What are you talking about? Does that mean you don't have it anymore? You don't have any like I'm like no, like I'm
No,
like
girl.
okay, so just the education part, just the reading, like reading is fundamental. I feel like people really need to take the time out to educate themselves on certain
Mhm.
things. Like Google, it's so many different platforms now where you can just Google and look up stuff and see what it is. Even I've known people one of my friends, his friend had Googled his medicine when he had left his apartment. He had left and went somewhere. The boy found his pill bottle. I mean, it was Truvada. He was on PrEP, but the boy assumed that Truvada was HIV medicine because Truvada, and I had just had this conversation with Johnny. Truvada is actually one of the medicines that are actually used in some of the HIV medicines that some of the HIV
Mhm.
positive people may take. So I mean, it could be literally you could just have to read. You have to kind of just get out there and branch off. Even if you don't have the time to go read, we can provide information for you. We can tell you. Just hit one of us
Yeah.
up. We can
Those are
explain
for
to you.
people who
Like,
want to be educated. Like, it's
yes,
hard when there's people who choose to still remain ignorant. And
Okay,
you
so
have the tools to educate them, and they just don't want.
so
So
here's the
right.
thing, and I hear we talking about education, right? I hear we talking about this, I hear we talking about that, and I get that, all of that. However, where there's education, there's also a spillover. So as a heterosexual woman that
Hmm.
have not ever came in contact with HIV, nor have I ever had a conversation with people that are HIV, how do I educate myself like about it? Like I said it to say, um we're all in network, right?
Hmm.
And I heard Bryce was talking today. Bryce did what is it, a seminar this morning with Queens, and it was
No,
actually
with UNC Charlotte.
UNC Charlotte. But anyway,
Yes.
and so as he was talking this morning, I was thinking about um how, if a person has never been exposed, they're not is not talked about in a household, is briefly looked over in school, like they are nowhere in network. So as a
Hmm.
gay black man, I am more there's more of a chance for me to be or to come in contact or to see something about HIV, as it relates to me, as it relates to I am more, and there's more of a chance for me to be there's more of a chance what is it, it's more of a chance for me to be what I'm looking for. There's more of a
There's
chance,
a chance for you to be in network, but it's you still
right?
both of y'all still have the same type of exposure. So you might have more in network and more education about it, but she still has the same amount of exposure as you do.
but another
But
that the companies that advertise these things, they make it. They feed into that the gay men's but you see nothing but gay. Like, show me a heterosexual woman.
I have. There's a heterosexual Biktarvy commercial. He was an IV drug user. That's how he became positive, and now he's taking Biktarvy.
So that's starts. Those are
Yeah, but that's new. That happened this year.
But on the lines of that, you can't determine someone's sexuality or what they like just based off of this like vividly seeing them, unless they're
Yeah,
like this. We don't know if this person is straight on these
that's
commercials. This
true.
person, maybe, we might see it. Some speaks for itself. Let's just be
Yeah.
honest. I mean, we might know some. I mean, just be honest. But you can't always look at everybody and determine it. So I get exactly what you're saying, Justin, because even when me and Johnny was talking before, like diversity when it comes to these commercials and these ads and stuff that they put up, put white people in and put black people in and put Asian people in. This show different diversity and cultures that's in there because we're not the only ones. Like everybody literally associates everything with black and gay, like black, gay, black, gay, black, gay, black, gay, black, gay.
But
It's
I want to combat that because if African American men are most at risk right now for contracting HIV,
right.
why are we so upset seeing black black men in the commercials? You know what I mean? Like, I don't,
because
Is
I
that working?
I don't need an interracial couple. Like, if I need you to get this, I'm gonna talk to you. I need you to get this. You know what I mean? Am
well
I like, tell me if I'm wrong because like I hear a lot of times like people feel like they're being attacked because it's like I don't want to, but it's like no, like it needs to be addressed.
right, but
We're looking for people who are similar to who look like you, who live the same life you live because you're the main ones being affected right now.
in the same token, why can't you
Hmm.
also advertise heterosexuals or advertise, white people, Hispanic people? You know what I'm saying? The representation is good. You know what I'm saying? But when you start making it that I'm the only representation, now it feels like you're singling me out. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
Now we're being stigmatized.
right,
Right.
Understood.
you're connected
uh,
with African Americans, so that's why that diversity is important.
So somebody about to say something?
I was about to say something, and I understand, and I actually understand what Bryce is saying in a sense of like, the I think the imagery loses the message, because at the end of
Hmm.
the day, we are African American men that have sex with men are mostly impacted by HIV. Um, African American women also the second, mostly impacted by HIV. Latinx comes after that. Latinx, things like that. So it trickles down, and while I understand it, I I think that's why I think that because we've gotten so used to seeing black African American men have sex with men actually on these commercials and things like that, which is why it's not sticking, because it's all we're seeing, and it does seem targeted. It does seem, and it is targeted. It's targeted for a reason. It's targeted. I mean, don't get us wrong.
It's
Don't.
marketing is always a
It's
target.
marketed. It's targeted. Right. However, um, I think that's the downfall though, because you also target Dove. You also target, other things that you want to sell and make a profit off of. But
You want to know how I got introduced to HIV and AIDS? Back in the day, there used to be an old BT commercial with Common, and these heterosexual couple got on the bus and they were holding hands, but they both had got tested together. And Common was saying something like, knowing is beautiful. So you talking about knowing your status is beautiful, and it showed a little red ribbon. It's from a BT, and I used to be like, what? Knowing what? Like, what's that mean? But now as I get older, I'm like, well, why don't they show the same heterosexual couples in the commercials now? They did back in the day, and they
So
had a rapper sharing a message about getting tested.
so there's actually I don't know if y'all watch 13 Reasons Why, but I think in one of the more recent seasons, one of the boys died from AIDS because it ended up going untreated or whatever. So after he died, they like had like this whole school wide campaign of like introducing PrEP, and that was the first time I had ever seen like PrEP introduced in like a TV show. So it's like maybe they feed it more into like mainstream TV or something like that and make it, you know what I'm saying? Like Bryce said, bring it back to where you see it on TV every day. Like
That's
you
dope.
only see Big Tarvey commercials when I'm about Big Tarvey to a friend or something. I'm in Google hear me or like the TV hear me and the
Right.
government, and they put it
Right.
on the advertising after the fact. So I don't know.
Mhm. But then
yeah,
I also want to get back to like, okay, so heterosexual women in PrEP, why we need to educate them about it, because they are second to becoming exposed to HIV, specifically heterosexual African American women. But as for time's sakes, I do want to talk about self protection and why you should still be on PrEP, even though you do engage a monogamous or a serious relationship, and why that is important.
But you never know who. Period.
So
Sometimes it's
let's
always just safe
say,
to be safe, like, period.
mhm.
Regardless of how you
So
doing
let's
it.
say me and Johnny are in a relationship, but we have rules. We are allowed to mess with other people, but our rule is that we always use condoms and they can't come to our house. Off limits. Should I still take my PrEP, even though Johnny knows the rules is to use condoms?
Sure should.
Yes, you should, because
You
rules are
sure should.
by most people. I'm not saying I break, but
Let me tell you something. When it comes to any question about should you take your prep, I don't care if it's about a man, a woman. If you thought you was about to go to the club and you didn't know, you forgot, you need to go back and grab it. Make sure you take your prep. I don't
But
care
I
whatever you
trust
do.
him. He
Make sure
always
you
follows the
take it.
rules at home. He washed the dishes. He cut the
Mm-mm.
grass.
okay, do
Take
you
that prep.
still
Take
get
that
tested?
prep.
You know he know the rules. Do you still get tested? He
But
know the
what if
rules.
I break the rule?
Okay, well then I'm taking his breath.
Okay.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Like,
I just want to is there ever a point in your life where you should stop taking it? I want to know that too. Not even this relationship wise, like should it become a point where you feel like, you know what, I don't need to take this anymore?
I feel like
I mean, if it, go ahead, Justice.
I was just gonna say if you start, why stop? You're taking it for a reason. You're protecting yourself from something, even if you're not, having sex. Who's to say you might not have like a little one day? Like if you like some people I know, you can have
Right.
some time every 6 months and be good. You know what I'm saying? So even though you're
Mm.
not having sex and out here fucking, you know what I'm saying? It's good to still have it, have that defense for that one moment that you might be like, all right, let me step out real quick.
Let
yeah.
me step out real quick.
I mean, I think that's one of the benefits of being on PrEP. You have the option
Hmm.
to kind of take it as needed. You have the option to take it as your sexual preference, as your sexual heightened or your sexual activities lower and things like that, like you have that option, as opposed to the alternative, which is being exposed, contracting HIV in your life, depending on you taking a pill every single day. So I think that I think that that is something that's kind of speak to, um,
Yeah,
and
Donnie, you can make that into a quote.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It spoke something to me when you just said that.
That shift in my spirit. That was
Yeah,
good.
it really did. It spoke something to me. You need to write that down.
Like,
mhm.
what were you in 17? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know. It did.
No,
But
I feel like if I'm on prep and we get married, I feel like I don't want to take it anymore. Like I want to trust you. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's totally fine.
That
I mean,
must be
I don't think that people. I don't. I'm gonna tell you something. And while I recommend it, I don't. There's something about that. I mean, I get it and things like that, or um. But for people that says this, and for people that has the mindset of this, when it happens to you, or if something happens to you, and I don't have to say when, but if you are exposed, or something happens to you, things like that, you have to be the person to kind of, um, like,
acknowledge
that's
I
the
stop.
decision, and acknowledge the fact that you stop and things like that, and and best possibility that nothing may ever happen. You may not ever be exposed, things like that.
Hmm.
And that's totally fine and that's good. But if you are exposed and things like that, or you come in contact with HIV and things like that, that decision was something that was made, and you trusted somebody and things like that. And I think that people kind of get lost in the fact that I trusted this person and they didn't tell me, or I trusted this person and they were doing A, B, and C and things like that. But honestly, it starts with you, right? And you
Yep.
should trust yourself enough to know that I should probably be on prep, because I like it's nobody's responsibility but my own,
Hmm.
and that's just that.
I want to wrap it up because I need y'all to understand that PrEP helps prevent you from contracting HIV, not from syphilis, not from chlamydia, not from gonorrhea. And I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm saying this to be serious. That even though you are on PrEP and you are preventing your chances of contracting HIV, and you're not preventing your exposure, but you're protecting yourself from your exposure from HIV. It's still important for you to protect yourself from other STIs. And if you do come in contact with those other STIs, there are places and resources that can help you treat them. But it's better to be proactive than reactive. Okay.
okay.
Now, on the lines of that, with condoms, okay, people, I understand you might not like to, put your mouth on a rubber because it tastes a little weird, but they got flavored condoms. There are STDs that you can catch in your mouth that will not go away. Okay, understand there's different types of STDs out here, people. It's not just you can get something in your pee hole, or you're not gonna just get a little rash. It's so many different ones. Y'all think that people just are they're so used to these common ones that people get chlamydia and gonorrhea. They're like, oh, she got tricked, and the girl got tricked, and she da da da. It's the way I be hearing this. I'm serious. The way I hear this community talking about these STDs and stuff sometimes, as
Yeah.
if it's just like, oh, it's
It's
just okay.
nothing.
That's not okay.
It's like,
It's
oh, girl,
not
I got a
okay.
trick. That's it, girl.
Okay.
You can get in your throat.
Like, come on. I can't. I can't.
Also,
We got
there's good
condoms to
skin
lube, y'all.
condoms, y'all. They feel like nothing. Trust and believe.
Make sure you protect yourself at all
What?
costs. I'm telling you.
Abstinence is the key. You don't want to follow rules, don't have sex. But we know that y'all gonna have sex anyway.
Yeah, baby, that ain't gonna work. Cause once
Okay.
that engine gets started, that's it.
That's
Okay.
it. If I know y'all when we talking about prep right now, but we actually have prep at range. So if you need or know someone who's interested in getting on prep, all of us are here to assist you and help you out right now this time, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure you give us a phone call or ring. We'll provide our phone numbers and emails. We'll be more than happy to get you set up. Listen, I recommend it. I would tell all my friends to get on it. I had one friend that argued me up and down, but now he's finally on PrEP, and I'm very happy. I ain't even gonna say his name, but he knows exactly what I'm talking to. I love him. I'm
Okay.
glad he's finally got on PrEP. I've been rooting for him to do that. Do that.
And PrEP is for everyone. I'll put everybody on PrEP in my house, my son and my daughter. Here,
That's
Yeah,
take that.
like a vitamin.
Right.
come
You
on,
going to
buddy.
high school? Huh, come here.
Mhm.
Yeah. Go
You
ahead.
talking
Take that
to
from me,
boy?
baby.
Let me say this. I just thought about
You been
something.
talking to that little boy off the street, right? Come here. Yeah,
Go
take
ahead,
that.
Daddy.
So as I was just talking, as the conversation kind of went left, I was thinking about disease, like when Sean was talking about other STDs and STIs and things like that, that you can't get rid of. And I have a question for y'all because I was talking about the spillover, right? We're talking about the spillover
Lord, come on.
to the heterosexual community,
Yeah.
But I have always felt like, I'm gonna be like, whatever's what it is. Fight me if you want to, but I've always felt like herpes was a herpes was a Caucasian disease.
Yeah, because on the commercial, they had the white
I've
couple
always
running.
felt like if we want to bring up stigma and if we want to um talk about like how we internally stigmatize different things, I have always felt like herpes was a white person's disease. I've always felt like that. I've always felt like that. Not saying that black people can't get it, but I've always seen or felt like majority Caucasians carry simple. I mean herpes.
Well, everyone. We're honest. Everyone has herpes.
Well, yes, we do. We do know that everybody has a form of herpes, but we know what I'm talking about. We're talking about the STD or the STI herpes.
I can't
The one that
wait till somebody explains that because
what?
I've been trying. That's hard to explain to people that we have a strand of herpes. Like I don't know how to explain it.
Well, and it herpes and because a cold sore is considered
It's
a herpes.
herpes.
It's herpes. And so there's different versions of different things, just like this. Like there's different
Also, too, if
strands.
you ever had the chicken pox and you had shingles,
That's
you're
herpes.
like you could be exposed to shingles. That's the type of like consider herpes too.
Well,
Um, just like everybody has been exposed to what is it, HPV.
mhm.
Um,
Oh, I got
there
that
like
shot. That
you've been you know you've gotten a shot. You've gotten a shot for a couple of different HPVs, but like
No,
you've had the HPV at some point in time because you can get it from anything. Touching something, things like that. That is a very common
mm-hmm,
um virus and things like
mm-hmm.
that. And there's so many different strands, active strands, deactive strands. But we can get into that later. But I just thought about how I also have not recently, not since I worked at Rain, but before I started working here, that was one of the things that I always thought about was that herpes. I'm not saying I knew black people couldn't get it, but herpes was a Caucasian disease. I've always felt like I've always said that,
I'm scared
but
of herpes.
I know better now.
I'm scared.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I already don't like bumps on my body, like pimples. Like no, I don't want no.
I
No,
turned one boy away because of a hair bump. I said, mm-mm.
mm-mm.
I
I'm good
said,
on
mm-mm.
that.
Well,
My goodness, y'all. Is
Swiper, no
that
swiping.
just don't forget. Thank you for joining us today.
Don't forget. Don't forget. Don't forget.
Don't forget the AIDS walk.
Don't forget the A Squad coming up May 1st. Please come out and support. Oh well, and then donate. You can go to my page and donate to me personally. My link is on my page.
Or
Um,
mine.
And don't forget our drive up
or mine.
testing.
and don't forget our drive up testing coming up on May 15th. Please
Bullets.
come out and get tested. We'll be posting these on our pages as well. So be looking out for these on our pages when you see them. All right. Our next week we're going to be talking about Black women history and HIV. So tune in for that conversation.
Hmm.
All minds are clear. Everybody have a good one.
Wait,
See you
wait,
later.
Bye.
hold on. Wait a minute.
Wait. What's wrong, Justice? Oh, we didn't do it.
No,
Oh.
I know you ain't in the mood, but no. You got to deliver. You got to be consistent.
That's
You gotta be
justice. I love
consistent,
him.
Johnny.
It's
Come
that
on.
justice. I love him. I love that justice. You go
Come on,
ahead.
Johnny.
And don't forget, getting tested is sexy.
Bye.